Hello, welcome to War with a Mate with me, James.
Me, Andy.
It's War with a Mate. If you don't know what it does, read the label. It says for indoor and outdoor use only. That's an actual warning label I had on Christmas lights once.
Well, don't be putting them up in doorways, I guess, or entry points.
That actually feels quite apt for Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like if you want to do that, just say don't use this in a doorway.
I think it's use them inside or outside. Don't have a combo. Don't have a bit inside and a bit outside.
Then the warning label needs to be more clear.
It hasn't helped, and I'm fully willing to accept that on your behalf.
But our warning label says, highly flammable, do not give to children. Because this is a podcast full of high-intensity conversation and the adult theme of playing a board game until you die. We're playing the campaign for North Africa. We have been for over a year now.
And we will be forevermore.
Until one of us croaks it. That's the unfortunate reality. And boy, is it fun. It's much more fun than it used to be.
Yes, it's... This one was a bit low energy, I think, but still better than... but looking back a year to us trying to get the rules is still fairly fresh. I think we'll have to forget that before we start having a bad time with the game again.
I'll happily take low energy over what we used to have. I had so much energy. If anything, I was
You were running too hot.
I was a more energized man. I was full of fire and vigor. Nowadays,
no more.
I don't have that. The game actually, if anything, took that out of me. The game has stolen something from me, and it's my soul.
We're giving an offering.
I don't want it to have that. I wasn't offering it. It wasn't on the cards. I wanted to play the game and be done with it. I wanted to tackle it and win. You saying that actually feels a little bit like the game won.
Oh, it has.
Do I need to spin back round and become angry again?
I mean, you can. It won't matter. It's like being angry at the sky. It's just a part of your life you can't control, but deeply affects your life.
But the thing is, in this situation, the sky comes in a small cardboard box, takes up 10 feet of room, and also has rules where you determine what the sky looks like once every couple of weeks.
It's a sort of complex meta sky.
I'd say it's beautiful if I wasn't angry.
If I wasn't trapped in it.
I've become angry again.
Yeah, it's a lot like a desert sunset. It's incredibly beautiful if you're not standing in the desert.
Don't make it art. Don't make it beautiful.
It's clearly what you were trying to do.
Yeah, I know, but I turned my back on that idea halfway through. I decided quickly that I'm frustrated instead.
Okay.
The sky is a very apt place to start because that's where we both started and ended today.
Yes, it was all sky.
It was all not quite blue sky.
No.
It was quite blue for my
There were
guys.
some people fighting in the shade, as it were.
Yeah, because I had 26 bombers that rushed out to try and take on the 7th Armoured, and 11 of them did not make it.
No, 11 of them bit the dust.
Oh, actually, I say that. 9 of them bit the dust. 2 of them didn't make it to the bomb. They got back home, though. They got back to the airstrip.
Fair enough, but they didn't help this.
You didn't help the fact that they were trying to do a job.
No, this worked out quite nicely for me.
Yeah, I guess it would, because you had the superior Air Force and I had dogshit bombers, C-309s, that carry 4 bombs apiece. They don't have great range, they have terrible maneuverability, and subpar TAC air.
You know what this one told me about my Air Force? It was actually quite illuminating. Is I've been misusing those Gladiator planes.
In what sense? Because you haven't been shooting down the C-309s?
Because I've been trying to use This time I sent 30 of them, like 2.5 squads worth, basically, to guard the 4th. And I sent my good planes to guard the 7th, because I thought it's much more likely you'll go for the 7th than the 4th. With the Gladiators not there, it went much better. I think those are now going to be strafing planes, not air combat planes for me.
I actually like it the other way around, where I can shoot them down as we go.
Yes, I know, which is why I've changed.
Quite the contrarian we have in our midst.
Yes.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean that I don't want it.
Well, it does mean I don't have to give you it.
But we are friends.
After common ground.
Right. Oh, so we're not friends right now.
We're frenemies.
Because I'm in your house, so I can do, I guess, small acts of arson, small acts of theft.
I mean, you could, but don't.
Well, again, we go back to the, you might not want it, but I can still do it.
I feel you should stop doing that.
I haven't started yet. Or if I have, I'm sorry that you caught me.
I did.
I'm sorry you caught me. Not that I did it. What I did do is not quite arson, but it's, I guess, a level up. I did drop some bombs because...
It's a level up from arson, yes.
Because the 14 surviving bombers did still drop a hefty bomb load. Definitely not what I wanted. And I got an incredible roll of 64 out of 66 on the dice. Bearing in mind, this D66 system means that a lot of numbers don't exist within the scale.
Yes.
You don't get any 59s. That's not a thing.
Anything with a 7, 8, or 9, it basically isn't.
It doesn't exist. But I did get a 64, which is 2 off max. Which would have been great if I had the bombs that I intended to have. If I had even more bombs, that would have been greater, but I guess we're just talking hypothetical. It's getting philosophical at that point. What I did manage to do is drop some bombs on your 7th Armoured Division and pin a whole infantry.
You did.
Got them pinned, got them locked down. Following that, I moved on to your trucks, and I went to strafe. That didn't go as well, I'll admit. No strafing on the trucks.
Which, good.
Also part of the 7th Armoured that I was going for.
Because leave my trucks alone.
You retaliated with a fairly measured response of bombing. First of all, against the group of tanks that broke off from the Trivoli Regiment, which is now entirely armour, that little group that I've still got along the northern coast. You dropped some bombs on there, and you got one group worth. But if it's armour, it needs to be 2 to take an armour. Yes. And since it's all armour, you got diddly squat. You got Jack.
I got nothing. I'm counting a tiny win on some sort of information, as it were, but nothing directly effective.
You got Jack, but I'm James, so nothing happened.
You've been saving that one, haven't you?
No, that actually just came to me in the moment. That is... it's, again... We wax about what is and isn't art or beautiful. I'll leave that to the listeners.
It's probably for the best.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you would like to email in about how lovely that made you feel inside, you're welcome to. Just make sure you find me personally on my own social media. Let me know in advance so I can stop Andy from deleting it from the inbox.
Not going to work.
Yeah, also don't dox me, I guess. Don't dox me. Don't want to be doxed.
Yeah, I don't know why you sort of invited that.
Yeah, I live a cursed life. Yeah. There is no winning. Yeah. There is no positive.
So drop some ineffective bombs on your armor, guys.
And I'm pleased about that. I'm less pleased about what followed, because you dropped a much less measured response, a much more hefty one.
270 bombs.
On the Bardia garrison. Now, they moved a little bit further south after the last engagement that they had. I tried to put them in a position that put you in an awkward one. That meant you had to cross through 2 zones of control to pass through a little tunnel,
Channel.
An avenue. A what?
Channel.
Oh, I think you said shangle. And I thought I knew. I thought I'd learned a new word. I was excited.
It's a fun word for sort of a messy passage you have to get through.
But shangle?
Yeah.
I don't mind shangle, actually.
Oh, I had to get my driver's license renewed. It was a real shangle.
Oh, I like that. It's not quite hassle or farce.
No.
It's like you have to navigate through something.
Yeah, it's something awkward to navigate through, yeah. It's a shangle.
It adds a geographical element to it.
Yeah.
It's like a location. Yeah. I like that, because driving license works well. Note that one down. We'll create a board of new words. You're actually noting that down.
I'm going to open a tab. When we finish this podcast, I'll send a very angry, confusing letter to the dictionary with some words they need to add.
I like that you're angry. That's in the spirit of what we do.
Shangle. That's going in the dictionary.
Angry in the wrong places. That could be another name of the podcast. Or Andy in the wrong places could be a spin-off where we send you off around the world. Do a sort of idiot...
Carl Pilkington-esque.
I was just thinking idiot abroad, yeah. Andy in the wrong places. Watch this space. Coming to YouTube Red this summer.
I'd love that. It's just get paid to travel.
Is YouTube Red still a thing?
No. Or if it is, I feel sorry for whoever's making stuff for it.
I know they've got Now TV, but that's not YouTube. And I know you've got Amazon Prime, but that's not YouTube.
No.
You've got Netflix, but that's not YouTube.
Don't have YouTube Premium even. Let alone YouTube Red.
The only time I got YouTube Premium was when we went on holiday to Budapest, and I needed to download some episodes of. I downloaded Guy Mont's Spelling Bee.
Yes.
And watched a few episodes of that on the plane. Fun dive in, actually. Good segue. A lovely shout out from the guys at Worst Idea of All Time.
Yes, they read your email.
Yes.
Found it funny.
In that episode, After the Laughter 2. Yeah. They had a jolly good time poking fun at our situation and enjoying what we're up to.
And I feel like anyone who's listening to us has heard of them. But if you want to listen to guys funnier than us do long, drawn-out things they don't have to, that is the podcast to go to.
Yeah, that's sort of the best version of what we could be doing.
Yeah.
That's what we could be, but we're picking to do this instead. It's not that we couldn't do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely could.
We could rise to the meteoric comedic rights that they are, but we're busy. We're busy for a long time.
Yeah.
So that bombing run, wow, 3 infantry pinned.
Which left you 1 unpinned?
1 unpinned of my infantry.
So you got 1 gun and 1 infantry and 9 guns in there.
How's he going to man all those guns? Thankfully, they come manned. Don't worry, folks. It's all right. They're protected.
I would like to steal them.
My guns?
Yes.
I know. This isn't new information. It's just troubling information. It's stuff you didn't need to say out loud. I gauged that you're trying to take my stuff.
Well, I think that bombing run went about as well. I could have rolled higher, but in terms of like doing what it had to, I think that bombing run helped a lot in terms of that above the escarpment area.
Yeah, I think that area has now become a little bit more uneasy for me because your movement's coming up.
Yes, this is why I was also very glad we got normal weather for this. Because sandstorm or rainstorm completely scuppers this plan of mine.
Well, whatever your plan is, I don't mind that the weather is good. If it facilitates your plan, fair enough. But it means that I'm not also getting absolutely buggered by the weather. I'd much rather you have a plan that goes off without a hitch, and I also get to respond without a hitch.
Yeah. Well, what I'm really interested in here is, does the double turn feel impactful? Even in, like, what is, for me, probably a relatively bad game state at the minute. But does the double turn... I'm sort of figuring out, is that something in the repertoire that's going to be used? Is it going to be a consistent thing? Like, if I have initiative for 3 op stages in a turn, is this going to be a common thing, or is it going to be rare?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm interested in how this goes. And then also, you're going to have 2 movements back-to-back, most likely.
Well, that's it. I guess you've got, first of all, that trade-off you've mentioned of every time you do that, you then have to look at sacrificing a go and giving me a double turn.
Yeah.
Which probably isn't... I don't imagine that's ideal for you.
No.
And as well as that, what does it look like? Because for me, I found myself in a different headspace looking at the board compared to last week.
Yeah.
Because looking at the board today, knowing it's your turn again, I felt a lot more negative than I did last week.
Oh, good. I was worried you were going to say positive. I was like,
no,
this hasn't worked at all.
Definitely not positive, because there's something about, in the moment, ending the movement phase and going, right, that's where everyone is. Let's go again. And then going again and realizing, oh, they're all where they were. You've moved, I've not. And then knowing that you're going to do it again.
Well, you've not escaped the shangle.
I've not outshangled myself yet. Instead, I've ended up in the same position that I was, because I can't move, and you're going to go again. So whatever tactic I had, I'm sort of a turn lagging. I'm an op stage behind.
Yeah.
Which I thought would be beneficial in some ways, but I don't know that I'll be able to capitalize on this. I think you might pull some stuff out the bag I've not really planned for, as is always the case, to be fair. You talk about not being in a great game state. I'm in a comfortable game state. I don't know that I'm in a better game state. I'm in one of the most comfortable I've been. I think I've got a really good defensive point. But looking at it today, is that good? Is that a positive one, or is it just better than it was?
Well, I'd say this. You're not achieving any map objectives from here, but you've got the one banked. It looks like a horrible position to be attacking.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Like, I don't know if... It depends what you're wanting. If you're wanting to hold that line, which I have to break through game state-wise, is part of why I'm feeling bad, you're golden. If you want to take City Barani back, it'll look very different. But
well, yeah, if I want to take City Barani back, I'm in a really bad game state.
yeah.
I like to see myself as Netflix when they've recently released the Peaky Blinders movie. This is a situation where I can comfortably sit and take in the money, but I'm being critically panned. There's positives and there's negatives. I've released what is objectively a bad piece of media.
I'd say you're at the end of season 6 at the minute. It's up to you to fuck it up by doing a move.
That's a better analogy. We've both watched that film recently, and we don't have nice things to say about it.
And I really wanted to.
That
went
could have been
into
great.
it with, like, I'm going to give this some leeway. And it's... Recency bias is a thing. But it might be up there with the most disappointed I've ever been.
If you go from highs to lows, definitely. Because on a sort of level platform, it's a fine film. It's average. I guess it doesn't make much sense without the context of the show. But it's just kind of average.
I actually think it's a bad film by itself.
Oh, really?
I do.
I think
it's
worse.
Not just a letdown because of how good Peaky Blinders is. I think it's a weak film.
It's the El Camino of Peaky Blinders, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I really like El Camino.
And before El Camino came out, I was massively against it. I was like, "There's nothing more to add. You're not going to gain anything."
We did a little watch party, and I remember you being really apprehensive to even come and watch it.
I was thinking, I'm not going to watch this.
Yeah, we lived together, and you were considering sitting it out while our friend came to watch it because you weren't interested.
So good.
It's incredibly well
I was
done.
like, oh, okay, this might work for Peaky Blinders. And then basically the Immortal Man is everything I was afraid El Camino would be if it failed.
We'll not give any spoilers, but if you're a fan of the show, which, I mean, this film as well, this film is set in World War II. There's even a mention of the North African campaign, which both of us touched on a bit today. We like that. That's our jam. But unfortunately, that reference doesn't save it for me. It's still bad. It's bad film. But that's the situation I'm in right now. All of the power is in my hands to sit on something that's good or allow myself to take a risk that realistically can't pay off. I've got all the building blocks for a good, steadfast hold of what I currently have, or I can reach for City Barani, the Netflix movie of this campaign for North Africa practice run, and absolutely ruin it. I'm not going to do that, I think. And I'm not afraid to put my position out here in front of you. I think this is something that GHQ would be able to obtain through the Enigma messages. I'm not going to go for City Barani. I'm going to hold you off for these last two turns. This is up stage 3 of turn 4. We've got 2 full turns to go. A lot has changed in the course of 2 turns before, but this position is so vast that I hold, and your supply line can't, and I say that with confidence, can't sustain the kind of fights you've had in the past that regularly.
Yeah, the tempo is... I'll say this, I think the tempo is not sustainable long term. It might be sustainable to the end.
I think
if
you go ham, yes.
Because I'll say this, I think all my big divisions are probably good for water and fuel till the end of the game at this point.
Oh, I completely believe that. I do not think water or fuel will be an issue for you.
They're all good on stores for turn 5.
Stores for turn 5, again, I believe. My interest is disrupting stores for turn 6.
Yes.
It's ammo.
But what I'm hoping is truck stage turn 5, op stage 1,
Yeah.
supply store run, and then the remaining 5 op stages are essentially ammo shipping,
Yes.
which isn't sustainable main game,
It's not.
but might mean I can like really go at you for these remaining 2.
I have 2 separate plans to disrupt your ammo supply. That's the way I see it, ammo supply. Stores, it's a nice to have. It's not a very realistic goal. I don't think I can stop you storing your men up. If I can, it means you can't make offensive moves in the last turn of this of this practice run.
Which really fucks me.
That means that you have to play the defensive, which I'm also playing. So turn 6 is a very boring few weeks
Heads
of
up
this
to anyone
podcast.
listening, if James's plan succeeds on my trucks, turn 6 is going to be boring.
Cool. It's usually me that discourages people to listen to this, so it's nice that you've taken that role.
We're sharing the load.
If that happens, it's going to be abysmal for both of us. It means we're just sat waiting out those last couple turns. Well, that last turn and 3 op stages. If, however, the more realistic situation is I can't stop that, I need to try and diminish your ammo supply as much as I can, and I can do that 2 ways. 1, disrupt your supply line. That's ideal.
Yep.
That is the golden plan. That is my primary objective. The second is sacrifice units the way I have been by holding the ground against repeated assault and hope that you overcommit over and over until
Just
you
eat my
finally
ammo up,
you finally end up with no ammo and your trucks struggle to make it across those wastes with hopefully a bit of hot weather occasionally, and it means that you have so much breakdown that you don't end up having much of an ammo supply. Certainly not one to sustain you the way you've had.
I will, at the end of this turn, have the most trucks I've had since the scenario started.
But that just means when the percentages kick in for breakdown, it's a bigger loss.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll take that. The law of averages is in my favour.
Oh, definitely. But hoping to work around them a bit.
We're in an interesting point here where we're 2/3 in. And we've wrapped up that air stage. We've got the final movement section coming up for turn 4. How are you feeling? I know we've talked there about the positions that we're in. When it comes to end game state, when it comes to up stage 3 of turn 6, what are you feeling?
I have a plan with some leeway in it that I think will work.
Leeway is important because this game keeps on changing.
It doesn't have to. Yes. I've stopped planning for
certainties.
I've started planning for, like, if it goes 40, 50% well, rather than if it goes well.
Good way to play it.
Which is probably going to help. But I do have a plan. I don't want to give too much away. But I think I've got some stuff to throw at you. And I guess I will give this away. I think I can get Bardia.
That's worrying because that's the opposite of what I thought this would be. I thought you were going to make a push as far as you could, but that Bardia was sort of a foregone conclusion that it's in my hands. Nope. Being able to take Bardia means you've absolutely broken my defensive line.
Yes.
Being able to break that with your, 4 divisions?
I've got 4th and 7th for full strength. They're down south. 2nd New Zealand is under strength, but probably on par with one of your divisions. The 6th Australian are firing along the North Coast Road. They're also probably 2/3 strength, but equal to yours. And then I've got a smattering, like, this turn I'll be moving the Polish Brigade up to Mercimetry on the train. Got another thing. So I'd say 4-ish divisions, and then you can maybe round it up to 5 with the other stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
That will
5.
be, like, deployed.
My divisions, I know, are from the combats we've had now. I know my divisions are weaker than yours.
Yeah.
I think I can hold it. Not. This is interesting. The fact that we have different perceptions on how this ends, because I feel like a lot of the time we're either on the side of we're both thinking less of ourselves, or we both see the victor in a particular situation.
Yeah.
The fact that we're now both feeling comfortable, I think, is a first. So I don't know what that's going to pan out like. One of us is wrong.
I think it's a good sign because it's... One of us will be wrong, yes, but it's a comfort with the game thing, I think.
I don't even know that it's that, because I'm not comfortable with the game. I know the rules.
I wouldn't say I'm not comfortable. I'm more comfortable. I wouldn't say I've gone to just fully comfortable, no.
Well, if you had, I'd be angry because you've been doing practice runs on your own.
I've done this scenario like 3 times.
Get a life. What's wrong with... If you've done this 3 times...
I should be doing much better.
You could do so much with your time. You're a smart guy, Andy.
Oh, thanks, man.
Stop wasting your life.
Oh, how dare you.
And I'm not just talking about that. Stop doing the podcast. You're better than this. What the fuck are you doing? You do realize what you could be doing with the time that we play this game?
What?
Oh, God, anything. So much. We don't have time to rattle it all off.
Good point. Let's shut this all down.
I think we have to move away from that. Let's walk away from this. Let's walk away from the gameplay. We've covered that. We've covered what we've done.
Jump into the mailbag.
Let's look in that sack. The mailbag is, the email mailbag is dwindling a little bit. We're looking to backfill that. However, we are now dipping back into the web form mailbag. We have a few different mailbags, you see. And the one that we're looking at today is actually a series of messages from the mailbag, ones that we've neglected for some time. And I'm very sorry about that because it comes from someone with a glorious name, James.
Yes.
Or the moniker that he has taken on throughout these web forms, Better James. That I take some umbrage with.
I appreciate the confidence.
I gotta say I don't.
Weird that.
I quite like someone who's humble, subtle, even. The bravery in this instance is completely unwarranted. However, Better James has sent a few through to us, so we have his saga to read through. A few questions, some good points. So, Andy, why not get into the first one?
Hi from Oz. You get this for complaining in Ep 9 that no one's emailing you. Back tattoo ideas. The entire map of campaign for North Africa, obviously. Pilot where? Enjoy the listen. Hope you lads keep it up. Cheers, Better James.
Episode 9 was definitely where we... that makes sense. We did bring this on.
Yeah, I think we've had a few say you've been begging in episode 9.
we begged for a while, and then we got it in troves.
We got what we begged for. Back tattoo ideas for the campaign for North Africa?
Yeah, because we'd mentioned that back then in terms of what kind of back tattoos ideas we could have, and what ideas we could have in general for any sort of paraphernalia to put in our bodies. What scares the hell out of me is the idea of all of those hexes being tattooed on our back.
I guess, yeah.
That would be painful.
It would be painful, yeah.
I think a large camel, perhaps.
A camel would be...
I'd take a camel. A caricatured camel.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of pilot wear, good question. We lost the pilot episode, the original recording, a little while ago, well before we could actually send it to anyone when we promised to. So that's not great.
That has been lost to the void, an offering to the gods of podcasting.
It's got to be somewhere. The original mention of Deserts of Our Minds came from that recording. I want to find it. I have to have it somewhere. But unfortunately, we'll just have to move on to the next question for now, the next email, which is, again, Better James. Hi, Andy and James. Better James again. Loving the podcast, as I've now worked my way to episode 34. That's some progress, because I don't think it was a very long span of time between the two. Another question regarding the game. Could the listeners be assigned to one of the divisions on the board? As an Australian, I'd like to be part of the 9th Division. Love the history segments. Looking forward to the wrap-up of the 20th Maori Battalion. Thanks, Better James. Well, the wrap-up for the 28th Maori Battalion was one of my favourite history segment pieces. Absolutely loved what you did with that, Andy. Loved learning about them. Loved their story. Hated how some of it ended up. Because a lot of it was grim towards the end. Just unpleasant behaviours imparted on them. But a crazy good story.
Amazing group of people as well. Like,
Scary
one of
guys.
the best things we've covered, in my opinion, as well.
Fixed bayonets.
Just get at him, lads.
And it was a good day. Diary entry.
Yeah.
Loved those guys.
42nd Street Battle.
Everything about them. Just a terrifying group of folk. And could listeners be assigned to one of the divisions on the board? Well, come the main game, we are looking at some interactive aspects of this project. So we're going to be expanding things a lot when it comes to the main game. The way that we broadcast the spreadsheets, the bookkeeping, some side projects we've got going on, a lot of things that all tie into this.
We've invested in some camera equipment.
Yeah, we've
higher
got
quality pictures for everything involved, yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff in the works, so this year is going to be a big one for extra projects, because we'll finish the practice scenario this year, we'll get into the main game this year, and we've got some of the peripheral stuff. This idea of listeners being assigned to units is part and parcel of one of those things, so keep an eye out on that, Better James. And everyone else.
The saga continues. Better James again. Each time I use this name, I like it less. Maybe I'll stop when the campaign's finished.
Oh, no! That's so long. That's far too long.
I don't like it. Maybe I'll hang on to it for 3 decades.
Better James, cash at me. Let me know how much to buy this moniker from you.
Continuing to love the history segments, I do hope to hear about the Rats of Tobruk in a future segment. Definitely will. They've been mentioned a few times. They will be getting their own series at some point.
I'm excited for that.
Probably the main game, because it'll involve some Nazis, so that'll be a while off. Game. Yes. But if you could talk to Richard Berg and ask him anything about the game, why would it be the Camels? Looking forward to more. Keep up the effort, lads. Cheers, Better James. I mean, he's right. It's got to be the Camels, because they've become almost a totem of our lack of understanding about the game.
Yeah, they do personify the confusion that we have of the game. They are one of the undefeated mysteries of the game.
The camel in the gaps.
Because it's the fact that it's not misunderstanding of the game, it's that there is actually no explanation. And at this point, I can say that with complete confidence that the game does not explain what happens with camels. So at this stage, absolutely, that is the thing I would ask Richard Berg. I'd thank him.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say this is a project we can't do without this game. And it's given us, I would say, between these hundreds of hours we played, it's given us literally minutes of fun. So I'd thank him for that. It's given us time to kill. And that's, I think, he made this game for people to bite off more than they can chew. And that's what we've done. We're choking on it right now. I would say, if it weren't for camels, since that's kind of the obvious one, I'd maybe ask if because in some of the articles we've read, some of the information that we found out outside of this, he had plans to introduce a bakery system, like an economic factor outside of Africa that would impact shipments.
Yeah, I think he actually mentioned it in the booklet that they were looking at like German bakery production levels. And yeah, I guess similar question would be like, okay, so if time and money hadn't been an issue,
what would that have looked like?
Where would this have ended?
Yes, that's it. How far would you have went?
Yes.
If you had, I guess not unlimited time and money, because I think one thing I've learned of Richard Berg is if he had unlimited time and money, this does not end. But if you had another couple years, if you had unlimited budget within those couple of years, what else becomes part of the game?
Yeah, and there's also the whole thing, because I guess this is some weird, you're talking to him, but also like computers, like how much worse would this have been if he'd been able to use a computer while he was both making it and managing it?
Well, that goes back to a point I think of a lot about this, which is if you introduce computing into this, you actually take away a lot of what this is. Because we are automating some of the spreadsheets, but we're having to actively do that. We're having to take affirmative action to automate stuff that is so granular.
Yeah,
that it doesn't
but
already happen.
We have spoke about this a bit before, where if this was a full game, it would be on the like simple end of like Civ or the Paradox, like Heart of Iron, Crusader Kings. It would be on very much the light end of it.
Yeah, because when you think about, like, I think of Stellaris is the one I go to, because I played a fair bit of Stellaris a few years ago. I was in a bit of a phase, and that is more complicated than I think spreadsheets of this game are when it comes to boiling them down.
Yeah, if you had to manage it, you would never be able to turn a Stellaris. Like,
yeah,
there's too much stuff.
If you transplanted Stellaris to this format, it becomes
Completely
unmanageable in a
unplayable.
very different way.
Yeah.
So computers would be an interesting factor, but I think if anything, we would just encourage them to be more gung-ho with how complicated it gets.
I would have loved to see this. I mean, we would have been like never finished, even not just potentially never finished in our lifetime. But if he had done like, I'm going to expand the board now, we're doing the Mediterranean as well. It's not the campaign for North Africa, it's World War II Mediterranean. And then he gets more time, and now it's done all of Russia as well.
It's just World War II, the game, and
Yeah.
it's every single factor you could think of.
Yes.
It accounts for civilian casualties through heart disease in every country, as well as military factions.
Yes, there's underlying medical condition attrition.
Rule for air pollution in London. I think it could go really bad. So, in some ways, the mystique of Richard Berg having passed, it's a damn shame. I'd love to ask him questions, but not being able to even dream of asking him questions means we have to figure this one out.
I think it does give the game a thing of like, here's a thing someone's made. You can't ask them any questions.
There's no
It just
going
has to stand on its own. It's like, yeah, pre-internet.
Yeah, a lot of the fun comes from not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Better James continues. As of yesterday, I've now completed episode 57, and I'm curious to find out if the black shirt attack on Alexandria has paid off.
Spoiler alert, no.
No, the black shirt attack didn't actually manifest.
Yes, there was some reading of the air transport rules for soldiers.
Yeah, the drop-off would have been grand, and it would have been impactful, but it never happened. Instead, we're stuck with the Saharan detachment's surrender at Alexandria. You talked at length in episode 57, Common Ground, about real-life pay-to-win, and who justifies the value of art, and it reminded me of a tax dodge theory. Person makes $22 million in profit a year, so he commissions his artist friend to make a painting. Then he gets his art gallery friend to evaluate the painting as being worth $22 million. Person donates that art to the gallery, getting a $22 million write-off. Yeah, that's horrible. That's my fear. I say fear. I know it's happening.
That is how a lot of modern art works, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like I don't like that tax dodge theory because I know it happens.
Yeah, that's
It's not even
true.
a theory. You're just talking about an example of something that may well have happened. The values are different. The event definitely happened.
There's a further theory on that they'll get up-and-coming artists, they'll like buy a bunch of their stuff and then get them addicted to drugs. So they like are no longer productive or like die
Oh, so it means it's
to increase the value.
It's a scarcity thing.
Yeah, which again that's another step on the art conspiracy from the very real money laundering thing, but also believable.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far from reality. That happened at least once in history. I can say that with complete confidence.
Oh yeah.
But away from the esoteric horrors of life, regarding the game, it'd be cool to do a Civ 5 style end-of-game time-lapse of the board over the course of 111 turns, showing rough territory lines moving back and forth with each conflict. Thought it would be cool to implement something like that. Sounds like, with the detailed bookkeeping you guys are doing, it could be fed into a model. Loving the chats. Excited and sad to catch up as I'll no longer be able to binge back-to-back episodes. Better James.
That is the plan. At the end of it, and also gives us time to develop it, but the bookkeeping will be detailed enough that, we can feed it into a model, and at the end, we'll have a time lapse where you can also go and click on anything and see how that's. So I would love to do that at the very end of sort of.
Well, you have the know-how. The thing is, you are a tech whiz. Your job is in software. You do actually develop things with, I think, probably a modicum of more detail than what we're doing. It's more a case of you work within businesses.
Yes.
This is all completely in-house.
Yes.
You're the only one doing it. And it's something that hasn't been done before. You don't have anything to come and pull information
No,
from.
I can't just copy someone's GitHub project and change some namespaces.
You've got a project that no one's done before. So we do have that as an idea.
But it'll be get the bookkeeping right by the time the game starts, and then if the bookkeeping's good enough, any of these like very ambitious things we think about, we can do because we'll have the information. And so it's the priority is getting it, so we have all of that.
And worth mentioning again, just a quick refresh for anyone who's interested in the physical bookkeeping and the spreadsheets, all of that detail. When it comes to the full game, we will be making sure when we start the full game, we can show that through and through. That we can show it. It'll be with a bit of a lag, just so we have time to adjust stuff throughout the week for our homework bits and make sure everything's up to date. But we will be making it visible.
Probably so like a turn lag, maybe, but the idea is fairly close to real time-ish. And also, that's to keep us honest as well. Because I'm sure some of you guys will crack them open and be like, you've messed up you've oversupplied this unit, or you didn't do the evaporation right here, so...
Yes, two facets of this.
Accountability.
Accountability and transparency. Because it's one thing for us to play this whole game. It's another for people to be able to see that we've played this full game. We can talk about this until the cows come home.
Yes.
I can tell you, on my life, on the life of my ancestors and loved ones, that this is what I spend my week doing. Once a week, I do this.
Yeah.
And I love it and I hate it, but I'm doing it. And we want to be able to show that to everyone. We want to show what it entails. Because there's parts of it where you'll look at it and go, this isn't actually that complicated. It's not complicated. It just goes on and on and on. And
it's a lot. Yeah.
It just really takes a long time. It's vast. So we want to be able to put that out there. So the detailed bookkeeping will be a massive part of the full game. And by the end of it, we hope to have something visual to show from it. Based on some of the stuff we've already had sent over to us, some of you guys are incredibly invested in either this or board games in general or history, and some of the stuff you've put out in terms of research or generosity with your time committed to contributing to this. I've got no doubt some of you guys might put something together, but we also are planning on doing that. So don't feel the need to. We will be doing this. We'll commit to it.
But if you do, much appreciated. Love to see it.
We won't say no to something cool.
Yeah.
James goes on to his last email,
the end
which
of the
came through fairly recently.
Found myself Googling the campaign for North Africa to see if anyone had played it and came across your Reddit post. Oh, this is a sort of summary, but he's got some questions in here that he hadn't done through his journey. Across your Reddit post, which led me to the podcast, started listening around episode 60, and like many, I was inspired to start sending in correspondence at episode 14, and made a habit of sending another web form each week until I caught up a couple of weeks ago. They were fairly short form with maybe a single comment or question regarding the game, most of which I've forgotten. Been making notes on this email to remind myself, so here are some in no particular order. You wonder why so many listeners, and at least for me... You wondered why you had so many listeners... And at least for me, I likened James's speaking style to Ben Yahtzee Croshaw of Zero Punctuation fame in that fast, dry, cynical Brit way, Love it. That's a very good compliment because that's a great series.
I'm not cynical or dry.
Okay. I guess it's not a great compliment. Move on.
Sorry, I was being cynical and dry.
Okay.
Read
Wrong
the room,
time.
Read the room.
No. One of your catchphrases from the early episodes, which has fallen to the wayside, was, if I was an expert at insert subject, I wouldn't be playing this board game. It became a quick fire retort if you felt you weren't well versed enough on a subject matter. We do use that on the podcast. We do also use that in our day-to-day sort of out of the game lives quite often. That's one that's fallen into our group lexicon.
Yeah, when we're doing D&D or I do this. So what you've got to bear in mind is, outside of this podcast, I talk about this podcast to people in my personal life as much as I can because it's something to talk about. I don't have, I've got D&D, I've got other stuff I can talk about, but this is something I can talk about at great length that no one else understands, so I can feel like a subject matter expert.
Yeah, no one's going to correct you.
So I can talk about it, but I kind of spin it the other way, where it's like, well, I don't need to worry about that. I'm playing this game for the rest of my life. I've spun it round. I've made it a positive. I've become an optimist, no longer a cynic. Except I hate the game because it will take up the rest of my life. But I do miss that. I miss the salad days.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad because they weren't really salad days. We
were young and experienced.
Angry.
We didn't know what was going on. That's salad days.
Okay. Other Australian listeners, I'm keen to hear about the Rats of Tobruk in the history segment, specifically the night raids. Yes, they're on the list that you guys have sent in. That I think at this point is going to be a bullet point list of every event and individual in this entire period, but that's awesome. It gives me jumping off points, so keep firing them in. Yeah,
they'll likely be when the Germans show up in the game, so I guess stick around for another 15 years.
Yes.
And you'll get there.
We will. So some questions regarding the game. If you had 5 Jameses and 5 Andys to play the game, still with one commander on each side, which do you think would be harder to manage, and why is it the James side?
What's that supposed to mean?
They sort of astutely read both of us.
Wow, he sniped that one. I guess if there were 5 of me, I'm
fucking nightmare.
I think I'm being completely candid. I'd rather be on a team of 4 Andys and just me than a team of 4 more of me. Whether I'm commander or not. Because I know my temperament towards frustrating situations. And if I'm getting pushback about supply distribution or wanting to try and push forward an air attack to defend my land troops, I'd become bitter and resentful immediately.
You'd commit clonocide at some point.
Have you heard of fragging?
Well, when you kill your commanding officer?
Yeah.
You think you would frag yourself?
I think I would frag myself.
So there'd be 5 me's and less of you over time.
But we'd replace me with more reasonable versions of me, I guess, because they know the last one got fragged.
It's not how that works.
We've got an infinite pool in this situation. James is talking about magic. And I'm not talking in the third person here. I'm referring to the email.
I think my team wouldn't. I don't think there'd be a force multiplier. I think 5 of me and 1 of me are the same functional effect. I
think, between the efficiency and the complexity of decision making, I think it balances out.
Yeah. It'd actually be a hindrance because there's you get none of the benefits of having more people, which is new viewpoints and ways of looking at things. You just have 5 me.
You're quite organised, though, whereas I like to react in the moment.
Yeah.
You're definitely more organised than I. So I react in the moment. You have the benefit of foresight. So if 5 of me are reacting in the moment, at least you've got 5 of you who've come to the table with a plan, whereas I'm watching the table ready for you to play and take action. So I don't know, it does balance out to an extent.
Also, this isn't part of the question, but it paints a very funny picture in my head of one day you come round to play the game, you come in, you look through the hallway door into my bedroom, my bed's gone, it's 2 bunk beds and a single bed, and I'm in a dorm with myself.
So you have to live with them as well?
I assume so.
You didn't say that.
I've added that detail.
You're just adding fan fiction to the War with a Mate.
Because otherwise there's 4 of you running around where you're like, boy, I hope they show up once a week and don't incriminate me in anything.
Yeah, but they're me, they wouldn't.
They definitely would if they thought a different version of you could take the fall.
Wow, you've caught me red-handed.
Yeah, you'd fuck yourself over.
Wow, God, you know me well. But James continues. The better James. The email James.
Yes. Love what you all are doing. The transition from binge to weekly listening was rough as expected. Stay discreet, modest, and intrepid. James?
Well, it's quite the saga, James, and thank you for sending a bunch of web forms, because that web form section, it gets neglected from time to time. We don't check in on it that much, but it goes to show that there are real gems in there.
It's been fun going through your journey.
It has. It's a little journal of adventure, seeing you go through the episodes. You'll have noticed, James, that we've amalgamated some of your emails because you've managed to perfectly capture the essence of some of your previous messages into the last one. So we didn't double up, but we really love that. Some great questions, some very unfortunately introspective points I'm going to have to wrestle with for a little while now.
A bit of clone paranoia.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sleep with that tonight. However, anyone else who wants to get in touch with us, be it through the web form, the Instagram, or the email, we promised in episode 9 we'll get round to it all, and we will. We're churning our way through. The email is info@warwithamate.co.uk. The website is warwithamate.co.uk, and the Instagram is just warwithamate. And we'll answer everything. We'll get round to it all, related to the game or no. And as well as that, some of you may already know, but we have our first live show ever at the UK Games Expo this year, May 30th on the Saturday. More details to follow, but if you happen to be along those parts of the world, by all means, pop along. That's where we'll be.
And drop us an email. We'll don't know how many people are there, but we'll probably do the show and then maybe a meet-up or something.
We'll organise something there. So if anyone's around the UK Games Expo or just Birmingham in general, I guess, if you're not popping along to the expo, let us know. We'll be there that weekend. We'll put something together. We'll all have a big old chinwag about the game. It'll be a grand old time.
Yeah, we'll have a confusing conversation to anyone around us that we're incredibly into.
And you'll realise how unstable we are when we talk about this game. It's not actually fun. We just have a microphone and we can edit what we say.
You get to see the wilds of our eyes.
And boy, are they wild.
I'll like grab a stranger and talk about fuel consumption. You don't understand.
They don't understand, Andy. The only way we've got a possible chance of understanding is to learn from the past. So I implore you, tell me about the past.
And I will. The men of the long-range desert patrols were quite a sight on their return to Cairo from a month's trip to Libya. The contrast between the east and west of the Nile is very marked. In the east, the country... At this point, I gave little thought to my future, but had always been interested in boats in the sea. I am more or less in the position of a captain in command of a ship, which is on the point of sinking because errors are present.
We are absolutely not qualified to share views on history. Where and when in history are we? And why is it whimsical, waxical, and happier than the Italian-Ethiopian conflict?
Because we're continuing with that king.
We are. We're
Victor Emmanuel III.
We're way in the past.
Yeah. We're building up steam back towards the events, but covering this guy. So, You remember Umberto I?
I do.
His big mustache dad?
Yes, I remember him very clearly because I've looked at pictures of that mustache and wow, it's big.
Yeah. So here's the quote he gave his son about rulership to start things off.
I'm sure it's inspirational.
Remember, to be king, all you need to know is how to sign your name, read a newspaper, and mount a horse.
That's terrible advice. That's terrible advice from anyone. A father, that's abysmal.
It's horrible advice from a father. It's also the worst. It's not good advice for a ruler.
No, it doesn't help anything.
No.
That's not at all constructive.
No. But yes, he ascended to the Italian throne on the 29th of May at the age of 30. His big mustache dad was dead at the hands of an anarchist called Cecchino Bresci. But after his father's death, he immediately went to work calling the Prime Minister Giuseppe Siracco, or Joseph Siracco, for a meeting 2 days after his father's death.
So he's straight into it.
Right into it. The Prime Minister is leaving the King's funeral chapel when Victor summons him to his study, and the Prime Minister comes in and tries to give the general condolences, but the King's right to business. He's looking over this big pile of paperwork on his desk, and they're decrees the King hadn't had a chance to sign yet. And he points a pile out to the Prime Minister of decrees that the new King does not think are in keeping with the Constitution. So he's not going to sign them immediately. The Prime Minister tries to explain that it wasn't the King's job to make that decision and that he should just sign them like his father had, to which Victor retorts, yes, but from now on the King will only sign his own mistakes and not those of others.
This is an interesting direction.
It is,
This is not the Italy that I've known from the other history segments.
No.
This seems a bit more of a level-headed and more of an investigative Italy.
Yeah, this guy's a really interesting guy considering his place in history. But so yeah, the Prime Minister immediately gets upset at the notion of this and offers his resignation.
That's a fucking bold move to immediately quit.
Yeah, the King just ignores that. He just continues talking and just doesn't even acknowledge it, and goes on to explain his worldview and explain that he would be reading all the decrees before signing them. I do not be able to claim to solve the present difficulties by my efforts alone, but I am convinced that these difficulties have a single cause. In Italy, few people perform their jobs precisely. There is too much laxity and laxity. Everyone, without exception, must strictly observe their obligations. I will set an example by fulfilling all my duties. The ministers will help me, but not by lulling anyone into vain illusions, not promising what they are certain they can keep. So he's got this I'm going to do my job right.
Yeah,
which compared to his parents and a lot of European nobility is quite a refreshing thing to see.
Yeah, it's quite unusual because it seems to be very much a case of he's not going to go along with the flow of things. However, he's been brought up in an environment. I mean, the quote at the start says it all.
Yeah, that's what... He's an interesting, he's not quite a product of his environment fully, I don't think.
He's bucking the trend.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, history dictates that he didn't actually buck the trend enough. Things changed again. He couldn't fully change the environment.
No.
But I'm excited to see where this goes.
Because domestically, he's quite liberal for a king, with a focus on social peace and education for all citizens. He helps pass bills for legal protections for immigrants, protections for women and minors in work, various workers' rights, including weekly rests. That's Sunday. He adds the idea of a day off of work per week.
So he's better than Henry Ford.
Yeah. And also creates the National Maternity Fund.
Wow, okay.
And this is in the first decade of the 1900s. So 1901 to 1910.
So
1920 is sort of the range he's passing these laws in.
maternity fund back then, I wonder what that would consist of then, because I don't imagine the number of women at work are massive.
No.
So,
But he is helping their rights and the rights of children. It's quite an interesting goal he has here.
and this is before I know the rest, but I'm going to say this guy seems to be moving in the right direction. I don't know what
Yeah.
horrible things he might do, but it seems to be good progress.
Yeah, his goal is, and this is another quote, to achieve a higher intellectual, moral, and economic condition of the popular classes. And he actually gets called by some of his contemporaries the socialist king,
Wow.
which is an oxymoron in some ways, but does give you a sense of his...
Is intentions in general, yeah.
And I think this is also an important time to look at in terms of royalty is falling throughout like the previous century. The Russian Revolution is about to happen.
Yes, yeah.
I think is it 1918 or no? It's before World War. Regardless,
I think 12.
Yeah.
I think 12.
yeah, that sounds about right. The Tsars are about to get it in the neck. The French royal family got it in the French Revolution. There's sort of a thing at the time, royalty are like, if we don't manage this properly,
There's a revolution.
we're
on our
getting
hands.
guillotined or worse.
And the guillotine in Europe, around these times, they love a guillotine.
It's a it's a bizarre. The guy Guillotine, who it's named after, has an incredible life. By the way, not like good, like interesting. Not.
Is there a connection between guillotine and the Gillette razor brand?
I don't actually know, but it doesn't feel.
Just popped into my head there, and I couldn't help but think Gillette, guillotine.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's like a root word for like razor.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Did he come up with the idea of a razor, maybe? Is the razor named after him?
I think he made it big and dropped it.
Is razor a brand and Gillette is the thing? Is it spun in Uno reverse?
Yeah. An important thing to mention about his powers, because they're mainly military and foreign affairs, despite his like having this local influence. But one of his powers that will become very important later on is he can appoint a prime minister even against parliamentary vote.
Wow.
So they're in a constitutional monarchy, kind of like Britain now, but with more power
to the monarchy.
in the monarchy. So it's not fully. They're not fully symbolic.
Yes,
They're
because
sort of in between.
in the UK, they just get royal assent when it comes to passing of bills and that sort of thing.
And there's been cases in British things of like them having influence on certain policies, and like in particular, apparently they have quite a lot of influence on tax policies that would affect them, even though they're not meant to have any.
Yeah, because I don't
this-
know what degree it shifted over the years. But in essence, you're meant to just have royal assent over
Yeah.
bills in the UK. But I guess maybe that's a different structure in the past.
Yeah, and this is an interesting. We're jumping around a bit in this section just to give you a vibe of the guy, but nothing after 1920. But on the 14th of March 1912, a Roman bricklayer, Antonio d'Alba, who's an anarchist, shoots at him twice but misses. A few hours later, 3 socialist leaders from the Italian Socialist parties basically show up at his palace and go, essentially, congratulations for not dying.
Okay.
This causes quite an issue. It gives the PSI, or the Italian Socialist Party, a pretext to kick these 3 men out. Fully backing this movement to expel them was the diehard socialist Benito Mussolini, who said that socialists that talked to the king were part of the clerico-nationalist monarchist flock. And another quote he said was, either with the palace or with the socialists.
And that name, Mussolini,
That name comes up a bit.
I know this guy.
Yeah.
He's bad news.
And we've sort of been dancing around him to like lay the characters. But he does start as a socialist.
Yeah. Which, from what I understand, quite a few fascists do.
Yeah.
Historically, there's been a lot of socialists turned fascist,
Yeah.
which is, for me, a weird roadmap.
I can kind of understand it on a certain level where it's like you're looking around and you're like, I think it's a problem now as well, where you're looking around and you're like, I know things aren't working, but I don't know what the answer is.
It just feels
and
like
like bounce between, like, it's kind of like I heard a thing about like a weird number of people who would have voted for Bernie Sanders in 2016 ended up voting for Trump when he didn't win the primary because they're an anti-establishment vote.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's that jump from one extreme vertical to another.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
like
not
I know
extreme, but
something's wrong in this like middle section or like in the mainstream establishment.
Yeah, I want to get outside of the usual verticals. I want to go into a different one.
Yeah.
And if the left vertical didn't work, I'll try the right vertical.
Yeah.
And just kind of jumping to an alternative. It's an alternative approach of politics.
Which is, and we'll get into it in the series about him, but it's just an interesting thing of like, if history had gone slightly differently, Mussolini could have become the socialist, communist, as it were, dictator of Italy in the early 1920s. Like, there's a version of history that's not massively distinguished from our own, as far as I can tell, where Mussolini is a socialist dictator in Italy leading into World War II because he just wanted power.
Yeah.
And he ended up constructing fascism because socialism wouldn't do it for him. But if he'd been more effective, you might have got a socialist Mussolini.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought of what does that change? What methodologies are instead just adapted under the umbrella of socialism?
Yeah.
Instead, I mean, you have, of course, the National Socialist Party.
Yeah, which aren't socialists.
A notorious one, which have that bracket, but what would that look like? How many tactics are employed that are the same? Or is the following different enough that it changes the course of history?
Well, if they had been socialists, they would never have allied with the Nazis because they're, even before, like, or equal to Jews, they hated socialists and communists.
Yes.
So you don't get an Italian-German bloc in World War II.
Or I guess does socialism become defined so differently that it no longer holds
because Mussolini in a lot of
bracket?
ways defined fascism, so would he have had a defining effect on
socialism in the way it's taken in Europe around that period? Does he then just absorb it, and when the Nazis do rise to that scale of power, is it just absorbed in that bubble? Does it just become accepted that this is actually just the function of a socialist party? There is not that hatred anymore. I mean, it would still be hated elsewhere probably because the doctrines don't fit. But yeah, would it have had that much of an impact, I guess? But
yeah,
we'll never know.
It's an interesting one.
The guy became fascist.
Yes.
The guy pioneered fascism.
He invented it. And the King's also got a really interesting thing here that I'm not going to go into too much, but this feels unique to Italian politics, which is a semi-domestic, semi-foreign affair, which is handling the Vatican.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a very complicated situation, but basically the Pope used to own all of Rome. And at some point in the late 1800s, the Italians basically came in and conquered Rome for the Kingdom of Italy, but left the popes in the Vatican. And it wouldn't be until like 1929 that the Vatican was like recognized by a piece of legislation Mussolini passed and the king signed, weirdly. But so throughout his entire thing, He's personally not very religious. His mother is extremely religious. His father was not religious in private, but publicly thought going to church was good, so wanted to like demo it to his people.
Oh, okay.
So he has this constant, throughout his entire reign, like friction and pressure with the Vatican, where the Vatican are like, you need to make us a fully autonomous country. We want Rome back. He's like, that's obviously fucking nuts. we're not going to give you Rome. And then there's that, and he's like, the current legislation we have is fine. You guys have the Vatican. It's not technically a country yet, but you have it. I don't want to deal with this that much.
Yeah, but that seems like he's absorbed his father's views then, if we're going to analyze that, because the idea of public-facing importance of religion while not being particularly devout, and then passing legislation to recognize so was it to recognize the Vatican as a sovereignty in a sense?
I think so. I'll definitely need to do more. This will be something we probably cover but I think it was Mussolini pushed for it, and he signed it on behalf after he sort of became a bit of a puppet.
Yeah.
But before that, he was just sort of like, you guys are fine. Stop complaining.
I had in my head that the Vatican as a sort of separate sovereignty was way earlier than this.
Same before I did any of this research, and I've still not gone into it enough to... But it is interesting. It's fairly new. The Vatican's been there for 2,000 years, but the Vatican as a country...
I've been there and I didn't know this.
Yeah, very recent. So then we'll jump over to some foreign policy stuff here. So Italy is technically part of something called the Triple Alliance, which is between Germany, Austro-Hungary, and Italy. But despite this, Victor wants to make new alliances and friends for Italy and not just be locked into this, which leads to the two most important sort of allies he'd made that will also set up what's coming next. He pursues better relations with France in a process that had started by his father a few years before he takes the throne. And as part of these agreements, Italy and France recognize Italy's interests in Tripolitania and Cyrenaica, which would eventually form Libya. 2 years later, they come to an agreement that if the great powers went to war, these two nations would remain neutral. This is before World War I. This is a pretty crucial thing that will affect Italy's fate in the Great War.
Yeah.
Because they're meant to be allies with Germany and Austria. They don't really like them. The Italy-Austria-Germany situation is very complex. Fortunately, we will cover it later, and Arrow, one of our listeners, has sent in a good chunk on that, which will form that episode. So also, Arrow, I am using it. I just haven't got to it yet.
Yes, we are working through the mail, and
very much appreciate you sending me that.
If you send in-depth stuff, we will use it, but we have to disseminate it, and it's crazy good stuff. So it'll work into a history segment.
And then on the Russian front, which is the other ally, his marriage to Eleanor created a lot of goodwill, as Montenegro was a long-time ally of Russia at the time. In 1909, the Russian Empire and the Kingdom of Italy make the Rakhinoji agreement in secret. They essentially make a deal here that they're both going to work to maintain the status quo in the Balkans. And what that means for both of them is limiting Austria, basically.
Right.
So they've entered a secret agreement against one of their allies.
Oh, wow. That's not like Italy at all.
No. But this also means Russia will recognize their interest in Tripolitania and Cyrenaica.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got two foundational sort of political justifications for the Kingdom of Italy, ruled by Victor Emmanuel III, to set its eyes across the Mediterranean to what Mussolini would later call the Fourth Shore. And they set their sights on lands owned by the powerful but declining Ottoman Empire. And they'd tangle with them when they went into Libya, but we'll get to that.
Well, the Ottoman Empire, as we all know, exists now and is thriving.
Yes. I was going to do an Ottoman Empire episode, and then I completely underestimated how... they were from the 1422 to 1914, World War One. They're a 700-year
Yeah.
500-year empire that I like knew almost nothing about other than their sort of like the east bit of Europe during the World War One bit.
I tried looking into it like a year or two ago. I think it was before we even played the game.
Yeah.
I started looking into the Ottoman Empire. I can't remember what got me onto it, and I started, and I was just confused. I didn't have enough historical context, and it's just like layer on layer of previous foundation.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't understand the relations between the countries involved and the situation that it then led into that became World War One. I just couldn't make sense of it. So if you do an Ottoman Empire bit, I'd fucking love it because I can digest the stuff you are telling me, but I could not understand the stuff I was reading.
I think what I'll say is there'll be an Ottoman Empire episode maybe at some point. What's coming up will be the Ottomans in Libya and Egypt, sort of the Ottomans on the map we're playing on.
I'll take
rather
that.
than a yeah.
I'll take a broader Ottoman. History is history. It's gone. It's past. The only thing we can do is look forward. And to look forward, we first of all have to counterintuitively look back. And now for something nicer. A little oasis in the war. It's time for some common ground. I'm trying the intro for common ground. I'm recording it. Maybe. Yeah.
Yes, because we're getting into common ground where we sort of pitch each other something. We come at some agreement so we can be friends going away. And last week I suggested the mint of useful objects. You seem to be sort of on board with it, but you wanted to come back with a refinement. So this is a 2-part common ground.
This is part 2 of the same common ground. And you proposed yours with the idea last week that you have a mint of reusable items, that everywhere across the world there'd be these dispensaries where you could obtain disposable but short-use items. You'd mentioned lighters.
Pens, lighters, I'd put hairbands in there. I was thinking about it. Paperclip, yeah.
Yeah, sort of stationary or average household use.
Just useful things that are good to be in circulation.
And I took this away with me, and I thought, I like the concept, but there's so many moving parts to it. There's the cost, there's the function. And I went away and I thought of some of the things that are really beneficial to just have at hand on the go. Stuff that you don't often have. You've mentioned some of them, lighters, pens.
Yep.
Things that if you're out and about, they're handy to have. I put together a few more items. I had a little look at some of the most regularly produced mass items that are short use.
Okay. Ooh.
And some of them stood out. I've got 4 big picks when it comes to the modern day.
Okay. Are you adding these in, or are you laying these out and then suggesting a...
I guess I'm adding these in, and then I've also got a bit of a caveat for the common ground.
Okay.
So some of them were, and this is the first one is less common but very handy. Toothbrushes.
Yes.
When you're staying somewhere, when you're traveling, a toothbrush, very handy to have. Batteries.
Yes.
Batteries, not just when you're out and about traveling, but when you're anywhere. A battery is handy to have. Tying into that, chargers.
Yes.
So a phone charger, even a laptop charger, something that's a bit more bulky, but maybe it's tied to a battery pack that's temporarily reusable.
Yes.
Something that doesn't have a permanent lifespan. Something you can't recharge. And this one, going more into the practicality of things, sanitary products.
Yes.
So this could range anything from toilet roll to women's sanitary pads, tampons, maybe even contraception. Not in the way that you've got the sort of dispensers in bathrooms. I guess we're moving more into sexual products. We're moving into contraception, but everything that goes around the genitals.
Okay.
Because I think all those things they're important in different ways. Some of them more voluntary than others. Okay. All of these things are things that stood out to me in my research as things that are important.
Okay.
So I guess, first of all, before I go into my caveat, what are your thoughts on those things, and do you have any more items that you'd like to add?
I like the chargers.
Chargers are great.
I think also because it'll force some standardization. Because we can't be providing a Lightning and a USB A-B-C.
Yes, we need to go the Central European route of USB-C, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is the general standardized charging port.
Same with like laptop chargers, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a nice side effect of this.
Yeah, so we backdoor legislation into that.
I agree with sanitary products. I think, yeah, let's add them in there. They're essential.
You can't go wrong with it. And the sanitary thing, that came not through the direct research that I did, because for some reason that didn't come up. And I guess it's because what I was searching is short-term use stuff.
Yeah.
But what I did find is that Aldi, the supermarket, some of the larger Aldis have bathrooms in them.
Yeah.
I've not been in many Aldis that have bathrooms, but there is one that I go to fairly regularly. And my girlfriend had mentioned that the bathroom there has free sanitary products, which isn't commonplace in the UK, as my understanding is.
But that's
maybe I'm underplaying it.
A cracking store.
Yeah, that's me thinking, that's great, because you've got toilet roll. Why not have sanitary products for women? And broadening that out, that's kind of the idea of this whole common ground. What other items can you have readily available that aren't just hygiene related, but just convenience?
Quick side note, as we're talking about Aldi, I'm a huge fan that they let the people sit down.
Yes.
Big fan of that. I don't need you to be standing up. That's weird. Give them a fucking seat.
I've worked, I'll not dox the business, but I've worked at a fairly popular DIY store when I was younger. And they were very, very against standing up. Sitting down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much a case of stand up.
I don't get that.
It was a case of, there's a chair there. There was always a chair at the desk.
Because I know the kind of store you're talking about. Yeah, there's seats around.
Yeah, like a big, home. And the thing is, their rationale was, well, you'll need to get up and scan all the stuff. Well, yeah, you do need to scan all the stuff. At that point, I'll stand up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget how to scan stuff because I've had a seat for a bit.
No, I think it's a weird, boomer issue where, they get upset that someone's not having as bad a time as possible in a service job.
Yeah, they talk about it was like engagement where it's like you need to bring people in. And it's like the thing is, if someone's got a flatbed trolley full of wood and copper pipe and anything else they're wheeling around this shop and they want to buy it, they're not going to be stuck. Because I would have to, instead of sitting down, not only stand in front of the till, but walk in front of the till along the row of tills.
Yeah.
I'd have to stand there and just wait for someone to approach and then be like, oh, I'm available. If someone's got that stuff, if they've come into the shop, they're there to buy stuff. They're not going to be put off by the fact I'm not there to beckon them over. Yes, it might be good customer service. Yes, it might be friendly. But by the same merit, if I'm sat down, I'm comfortable, I can beckon people over as they approach and go, oh, yeah, I'm free. Come on over. Yes, it's a bit more casual. But
or you beckon them from the chair and then stand up and meet them halfway.
Yeah. If they've got a bunch of bricks and paving slabs in their trolley and I move round with the extended cable to scan it with the scanner gun, then I can go around and do that. I can give my greeting. Hi, how you doing? What's going on? How's your day? You can do all of that. You can do all that sitting down if they're just bringing a few, potted plants and a bag of charcoal for their barbecue. You can do that there.
Yes.
But it is that weird warped reality of, well, you need to have it this way. No, I don't.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, just awful. But as for the items.
I'm comfortable sitting down. Don't tell me that I can't. The chair's there for a reason. Why'd you buy the chair? Who's it
That's
for?
the question. Like, either have no chair or...
Are you trying to trick the customers into thinking I'm allowed to sit down sometimes?
But I'm not, because I'm such a good worker and I'm so keen to serve you.
10-minute break is what I had. Yes, I was young. I had a 4-hour shift, but I had a 10-minute break. I had enough time to run out to the burger van, buy a discounted hot dog, run up to the break room, get a scalding hot coffee for 15 pence, which, to be fair, great value for money for the coffee. Down a scalding hot coffee, scoff down a hot dog, and then go back down with a burning hot mouth, and then stand there as if the chair is a worse option.
Side common ground, we're fully on board 100%, both of us. Let people sit down in retail jobs. Just let them sit down.
Fucking pop a squat.
Yeah. But for objects...
For objects.
I've actually thought of a distribution mechanism as well. Because I think chargers is good. You mentioned toothbrushes. It's another one. I think, you know when you go to a hotel and you get the Gideon's Bible?
Yes, in the drawer.
Yeah. If we get enough... If we could get there, it should be the Gideon's Bible and the War with a Mate survival pack, which is phone charger, toothbrush, hairbands, lighter, pen. Like, this is actually, now I'm thinking about, it's the stuff that a good hotel makes sure is in the room for you.
Yes.
But we just want to extend it out. I'd put elastic bands, hairbands, that kind of thing in there.
Yeah, just everyday conveniences. Yeah. The issue is, Andy, something I was wrestling with is not just the cost, because I think the cost thing can be worked into maybe my solution to this next part. Have you thought about what you're doing to the environment with this?
Yes, but you're thinking about producing a lot of waste, right?
Yes, you're killing the environment.
I actually think you're doing less damage.
I don't.
Because instead of everyone buying a pack of 10 pens and eventually throwing them out, the pens are just in circulation.
But these in-circulation pens are lost, broken, left in the hotel rooms.
They will eventually, yeah.
I think you're talking about a marginal change, but
I don't think it's enough waste that it knocks the current system out.
Well, that's it. The current system's bad already.
Yeah.
And I have a solution.
Okay.
The second part to this common ground is not just the items involved, it's the solution, which I like to call, and I take a little bit of inspiration from RuneScape here, the Grand Exchange.
Okay.
These facilities, these dispensaries, you can take any item you want. They'll have an array of items. Maybe they're structured like vending machines, where every institution, an office, a hotel, a restaurant, anywhere you are, they've got these machines that can dispense any of these items.
Yeah.
However, you don't buy them. You exchange for them.
Okay, so yeah, I like this.
The exchange has to be an item that has enough recyclability that it buys points of what you're trying to get.
So you might take a rubber in to get a pen.
Yeah.
Or you might... Okay, yeah.
You could take anything. The thing is, it doesn't need to be something that's dispensed from this machine. You're not doing a one-for-one trade. You could take 4 plastic pop bottles, soda bottles for the international audience. You could take those over and pop them into some basket that recognizes it, that sort of scans it and sees what it is. And then it'll go, right, you've got this many points.
So sort of how you trade in empty recyclable bottles in like countries like Germany.
Yes, where you trade in like an empty Coke can and you get
instead
like 15
of getting
pence.
15 pence, you get
a credit.
A credit.
Or 4 credits.
Okay.
Whatever the conversion rate is.
Yes.
You find a way that you can trade in these items and you get a point system.
I like this, and I'm going to take it a step further. You know how you're talking about you have these vending machines?
Yeah.
I think you also have like almost a shed fairly regularly, where it's like you can have the things for like An example I'm going to think of because of my fucking bathroom light. Stepladder.
Light bulb.
No, light bulb's fine. Stepladder is actually the thing because I look to get a stepladder high enough to like get to my ceiling to change that light bulb because it's like a high bathroom ceiling.
And it's in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
You can't lean against it.
It's like 70 to 80 quid.
Whoa.
That should be something that is in the
repertoire of this
because
organization.
you don't need a stepladder
daily.
Constantly or daily. I certainly don't want to spend a bunch of money on it, and I also don't want to buy a really shitty one and fall through it. That's another nice... This might be an evolution of this one.
But you could spend your recycle credits to borrow one.
Yes.
It's a temporary one because it's more expensive. This isn't a single-use item. This is a one-use item. You rent it for an hour.
For a pack of 10 pence. If you want a bigger, more valuable thing from the shared pool, you put in a bunch of you put in a pack of 5 lighters.
Oh, so you don't even necessarily put in just a recyclable object you're no longer using. You actually put in something to be used by someone.
Yeah, because you know how we were talking about the pens are useful, but like who's going to get them?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a thing of like, I want to use the stepladder, going to put 10 pens in. And that also means I've got a credit for a lighter when I need one.
Yeah, but you don't then... I don't imagine 10 pens is enough to borrow the stepladders for an hour. They should be steep.
Maybe, but it's more about making it useful and convenient.
But I think that's part of it. Obscurity should be more costly. A sanitary product is you need to go to the bathroom to clean yourself up. For whatever the mess is, you don't have... Your body's doing that.
Yeah.
You need to go for you go for a poo. You're on your period. You need to clean yourself up. So that's like the bottom rung.
Yeah.
And the higher rung, the highest rung is stuff like stepladder, where it's like, I need to use this
gardening
for an hour.
Equipment, where it's like
Gardening
once a month
perfect.
I need to cut my lawn.
Yeah,
let's have
perfect.
Let's have a shed on every street with the or not every street, but like every neighbor walking distance from anyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, you take your pens, your lighters, your stepladder. Light bulbs we mentioned are another one. But yeah, let's...
And again, to make this somewhat controversial, because I've got to challenge you somewhere, blood.
What about?
Give blood to the machine.
I think that's actually... You're saying that like it's going to catch me out or be like a weird thing, but I actually... Yeah, give blood. You've given to society. You get some
go with anything.
You get some credits for this system.
Yeah, give blood.
Yeah.
How far can I go with this?
Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but I think giving blood's a good thing. Like, if we can encourage more people to give blood, I'm all up for that as well.
Oh, okay. So you're one of these. You're one of these vampires, are you?
Yeah, I want to drink 50% of the blood, and I want to use the other 50% to help people.
That's fine. That's actually a good vampire.
Yeah, that's probably a decent rate for a vampire.
That's like a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
So this way, we're also turning to the vampires.
Oh yeah, which you gotta look after those fellas.
Well, we did the spooky episode a while ago where we talked about what monsters you would put into the North African campaign, and I guess if you're going to do vampires, that's how you appease them. You know what?
I actually like this one.
I think maybe this is the common ground where there is no debate. Maybe we've finally found the good idea.
I think I know what we've just done.
Yeah?
We've created like an authoritarian, overbearing system to simulate community.
Oh, otherwise known
Where
as...
it's like you just go knock on your neighbor's door and you're like, hey, can I use your stepladder? And they're like, yeah, sure. Can I use your trowel in a week? Like,
I think what we've done is we've created a commercial communism. and it works.
Yeah.
Why is this not in place?
Please let us know, guys, but I think we've both...
If we just crack
to use a
everything-
wrestling term, we've worked ourselves into a shoot.
Is this actually just right? Have we found a common ground that's just... It's not...
So it's
not like some wacky conspiracy or some insane supernatural plan.
It's a bunch of vending machines and like a shed within walking distance of most homes, and then just people having a system.
Why doesn't this exist? Am I stupid, or have I figured it out?
I feel
We've
like
got
this
it.
is like, yeah, this is like, why doesn't this exist? And this is like, someone's going to be like, you've just explained why capitalism or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like, you know, when you've like come up with something and you've essentially invented something that already exists.
I feel like that, but also
I feel like there's a flaw that I'm deeply missing.
maybe, I guess. So yeah, if anyone has a counterpoint to this common ground, please
For the
let us
mint
know.
of common things.
For the mint of common things, put it into the mint of common things, which is, I guess, the shared common ground universe.
Yeah.
Submit it to the mint of common things, because I think we've just got it.
I like this one a lot.
I don't disagree with you at all here, Andy.
Sweet, because I thought when you were coming up with something, but we've just refined it.
We probably can't do any more two-parters because they get too refined. But
if you've got an opinion on this, please let us know. If you work for a think tank and you're shocked by our genius, we are available for job offers.
relative to what good this will do to the world, we will charge incredibly low. A couple million each.
Which is, for a consultant, that's almost nothing. That's
Yeah.
like I'm giving it to you for free.
For a world-changing consultant.
The first one ever.
Yeah. And bearing in mind our split, I get 92%. You got 8% of 4 million is a lot of money, Andy.
I'm just grateful to have a slice of the pie, you know?
You coward. You spineless coward. I'll say anything and you'll just bite, won't you? You'll give it all to me. In a heartbeat.
I'm just a weak man.
And that's my common ground.
Stay so humble and brave.
In the deserts of my mind. And 8% Andy's mind. Farewell and good night.